I bid reserve.
It's
So I
gonna
dropped
be
my.
interesting. Are people going to be interested in this story?
Oh yeah, it's hilarious.
Okay, all right.
Because I totally screwed myself, but then it turned out smelling like a rose.
Okay.
So, sex, seniority, and salary in that order.
Rock on. You're on 121.5, the emergency frequency.
It's a show by professional pilots for professional pilots.
I looked back at them and I said, I don't think we're at the right airport. And they go, I don't think we are either.
Each episode, we bring you fascinating conversations with industry experts.
I think I should be a go-to on how to deal with 63, 64-year-old men.
You're going to chase it like a dog chasing a school bus.
But we're not just about the serious stuff. We're here to have fun.
Currently on an overnight in Orlando, and this is by far hell. This is the worst place on earth.
It's a whole thing.
The 21.5 Professional Pilots Podcast is your destination for everything aviation, whether you're cruising in the flight levels or just starting your journey.
Well, what's up, guys? We're back. Another episode, 21.5 Professional Pilot Podcast. Two pilots, semi-professional. My name is Max. I fly several airplanes for fun and for work. Joined by my co-host, Dylan.
Hello, my name is Dylan. I only fly for work. It's just labor every time.
That's not true.
No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Oh, yeah, we actually got to talk about that a little bit in the show today.
You prefer to fly very low-performing aircraft.
We'll get to that story. We'll get to that. I actually forgot to put that on the list of things to talk about. I'm glad we brought that up. Hi, my name is Dylan. I am the other host of the show for professional pilots, the 21.5 show. Welcome if you're new here. This is a show where Max and I talk all things aviation for professional pilots. If you want to get paid to fly, you're in the right place. I think. I don't know. Max, we have a big show today with lots of advice, lots of emails, lots of things to talk about, lots of our own aviation stories to cover. I was just telling you before we pushed record, when did Southwest start doing red eyes? Because this was not in a new contract, or wasn't that a recent development?
Yeah, it's in our new contract, and then it's been, I don't know when we start doing that. We don't do them out of Phoenix, so I don't care.
Not your problem. They do them to Phoenix, which is
we do them
good.
out of. I should rephrase that. We fly red eyes out of Phoenix, but they are not in the Phoenix bid packet. They're not.
Okay.
Because it goes like Phoenix to Baltimore, and then you get in at 5. It's a gravy deal. You get in at 5 or 6 in the morning, and you're done.
Yeah.
So they pay well for the amount of time you're away from home. You just got to figure out how to stay up all night. I actually bid on open time for a red eye that was so gravy, and I was like, it paid. And then it was a red eye, Phoenix to Baltimore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you go into rest, and I took a flight home at 7 p.m. or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was a deadhead home. So all I would have done was left the house, flew 11 or midnight, right? Flew into Baltimore, got off, literally waited for an hour, and then I would have dropped my deadhead and just non-revved home and slept all the way back home. And it was going to pay. I was hoping I bid premium on it. It was it was going to be so gravy. I was going to be gone for 12 hours and get paid for, I don't remember what it was, 16 or some 17.
Oh man. I mean, almost like would 16 be equivalent to a regular 3-day?
It might have actually was. I think it was actually pushing almost 3-day. No, the minimum paying 3 days like 19.5. That's the bare minimum. Okay,
so it's pretty close.
Yeah, it was pretty close to be gone literally overnight, and then some jabroni from another base bid it straight because it was so gravy
calling
straight.
Them out.
I know.
Right now.
Right. Listen,
jabroni from the other base, write in and tell us.
I know.
For straight pay.
Yeah, usually the etiquette is usually you do not bid open time.
Are we going to get into some sort of are we going to get into some sort of labor union?
No. But I just mean here's the thing. Common sense etiquette would be you do not bid straight pay on something at open time if there's trips and giveaway. So if other pilots want to give away a trip, which would be at straight pay, before you bid a trip straight pay from the company, you should go take the trip your fellow pilot wants to give away, right? But in this case, while a slight breach of etiquette, you could understand because the straight pay was such a gravy trip.
Oh yeah, right.
So this dude was coming from Vegas, so he had to commute in, right, to fly the red eye, and then he would drop the deadhead back to Phoenix and just catch a flight from Baltimore right back to Vegas, right back to Gates, right.
Perfect.
So you could see,
you could see the
he's
appeal.
it came down to a motivation thing. I was only motivated at premium. He was motivated at straight. So
that's fine.
Whatever.
That's the way it goes. That's a free market. I like that.
But that was the same time, didn't I? Did I already tell a story about the accidental 2-day gravy trip I got? Remember? Where I accidentally picked it up?
I don't think we told that story on the air. I guess kind of barely remembering the details. It's hard to keep track of your
here's the deal. I had dropped my I bid reserve.
It's
so I dropped my
interesting. Are people going to be interested in this story?
Oh yeah, it's hilarious.
Okay. All right.
Because I totally screwed myself, but then it turned out smelling like a rose. Okay. So I dropped my 3-day reserve sequence because I need the days off. So I gave it away and I'm like, okay, I didn't have like a ton of stuff going on. So I'm like, I'll pick up a trip to replace it. And that was when I was bidding on that red eye. It was all this open time, right? I bid on a bunch of trips. They gave that one away straight and they gave the rest to reserves. They didn't give any. And I'm like, you know what? But then you kind of get proud. You're like, no, I'm not going to go if it's not premium. If they're, And so I was looking and I'm like, all right, screw it. You know what? I'm just not going to work this weekend and I'll just do other stuff. So
stack Saturdays. I like it.
Yeah. And I had, you go in and you put alerts on when open time comes up, right? You get a text. So if you're trying to do this, you can get alerted this way, right? So I had the alerts going and so I decided to stay home. So I needed to go to the airport and put oil in put the Calian back on the plane because I just changed oil because we were going flying the next day, which we'll get to that whole deal, right? So I got my wife out there, the baby's out there. I'm like, hey, if you guys just come, it's going to take me like 15 minutes to do this, but we were leaving early in the morning.
I can't believe she fell for it's just going to take 15 minutes.
I know. Well, it did for real. So I went in there, I put the cowl on. And she's hanging out with the baby. I'm like, I'll take you guys. Well, I had to bribe her. I'm like, I'll take you to get tacos at the airport restaurant because they got really good tacos. Okay. And she's like, okay. So we go there, blah, blah. And I'm literally shutting the hangar door. And I get a text. So I look at my phone as I'm shutting the door. I'm like, oh, that like it's kind of like coded. So you don't know exactly what the trip is, but you can tell. I'm like, oh, like that's you're not gone very long and that pays a lot. I'm like, that'd be a pretty cool trip. But I'm like, whatever. I've already decided I'm not going to work. So I silenced it, put it back in my phone, button up the hanger, right? And I'm getting ready to get in the car and I get another text. And it's the same string of stuff describing this trip, but then it says in all capital letters, award, which means I got awarded the trip. And I'm like, I didn't bid on the trip. Like, how did I get awarded this trip? So I get in the car and I tell my wife, I'm like, you're not going to believe this. Somehow I got awarded this open time trip at premium. And it was a one leg that night to Kansas City, spend the night. And then, you get in late. So then you had to be rest and you fly back the next day and whatever. And it paid premium. Yeah. Deadhead back. But I could just go there, get in late, go to the airport hotel, sleep, and then take the early. Could be back by 8 a.m. So I look at it. I'm like, wow, it's actually a pretty good deal. But I'm like, and now my wife's like, we can't go to tacos and we gotta, and I'm like, well, let me see what's going on here. This is really weird. So I call scheduling. I'm like, hey, I just got awarded this trip, but I didn't have any bids for any trips. They're like, oh, let me look at it, and hear the keyboard. And they're like, well, it looks like you got awarded it with an automatic bid. And I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, you auto bid it. And I'm like, oh, all right. Thanks. And so I go and log in real quick on my phone. And when I had set the open time alerts, I got distracted and I accidentally had entered the same filters, but for an automatic bid. So I didn't know I had an auto bid in there. And then so then I look at the trip. I'm like, oh, this is actually a really good deal. We should. So I tell my wife, I'm like, bad news. We got to go home. I got to take a shower. I got to go to the airport. Good news is though, I'll be back by like 8 a.m. And so. That was the auto bid.
Okay. And then the second half of the story was that Saturday where you're getting back at 8 a.m., we had planned to fly a couple airplanes with a couple of our kiddos up to Prescott for the alumni fly-in.
Yeah, actually, I take that back. I got in at 6:30 a.m.
Yeah.
I got back to Phoenix at 6:30 a.m. And we were going to be wheels up at 8.
Yeah.
That was the deal.
That was a deal. So I took the 100 horsepower Cessna 150. You had your slightly more displaced aircraft with the kiddo in
It
there.
just performs a little better.
It just performs slightly better. So anyways, off we go to Prescott. For the flying, it was fun. I haven't flown a GA airplane back into the old stomping grounds in quite a while, so it was cool to do that. And we got a park for the alumni fly-in on the Embry-Riddle ramp, so that was kind of cool to like. When was the last time you were on that ramp?
Yeah. Yeah.
Long time ago. So we parked, and the whole time I knew like coming home was going to be the real problem. If anyone is not familiar with Prescott, it's just under a mile high there, and in the afternoon it was still going to be in the 70s temperature wise. So density altitude was certainly going to be a factor. And so I'd done all the calculations. Everything was going to work. I was going to go with minimum fuel, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, so we get in and we park, and we had a good time. Ran into a couple of our buddies. Max has a cool 21.5 podcast graphic on the tail of the plane. So you were busy giving Carbon Cub tours almost the entire time we were there, I felt like. But ran into a few folks.
Saw some fans up there.
Yeah, so that was super fun. And then anyways, the moment of truth when we were ready to depart, I was supposed to go first, but I ended up having to go get I had to go get fuel. I literally taxied over to Cutter. Shout out to Cutter and Prescott. And I got 2 gallons, one on each. Well, it was a
One
long
aside.
time. I literally said, one aside, please. And the guy looked at me like, all right. But listen, we were on a tight budget there, so
You didn't want to carry any more fuel. You offloaded like some bin you had with some
all
crap.
the wheel chocks and the tow bar, anything that with any weight, I just like put in your
We were
plane.
about to start unscrewing interior panels
Yeah,
and load them in my plane.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So anyways, so
we
that
have
was
our
a good,
kids too. You left out. We each have
my
a son.
No, I mentioned that.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
So I was, talking to my son about how the airplane doesn't perform very well in the heat and the altitude. And so yeah, it was exciting. We took off, and the first couple 100 feet actually wasn't too bad.
You're like, all right.
Then after that, I was like, okay,
small.
we got this.
Things are going.
All right, we're good. Going to VY, and then they're like, oh, extend your departure. And if you've been to Prescott, the kind of the terrain rises off the departure end there, and I'm like, all right. So like, son, I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to show you VX now and show you the best angle of climb, son. So yeah, that was exciting. And then we made it back after.
Didn't you say though at some point you're climbing and then it just kind of the climb weight went away?
It just stopped.
You're just at VX,
stopped.
but you're.
We're just at VX.
No climb rate.
I felt like a boat just plowing through the water. Just like, all right, something needs to happen here. We need to like lower the nose, pick up some speed, and try again. So yeah, it was not the highest. I'm going to confess, I may not have been at pattern altitude when I departed on the downwind. It may not have quite have been there.
Dude,
listen, we did it. And then. Then actually, it's just so funny how that works. And then you get up a little, you're just so sensitive to airflows there, right? Because then you'll hit a thermal and oh wow, this is great. And then you'll hit one the other way, and so it's just especially when you're flying the Challenger 350, which is got to be one of the most overpowered jets there is. Just thrust to weight and everything, it just performs so well, and it was good to have an appreciation for some aerodynamics. So we made it back.
I was worried, dude. I was kind of concerned.
Yeah.
I was calling you on the air to air.
Not concerned enough to like wait for me. You still just bailed and took off.
I didn't want to watch you crash.
What's going to crash?
Why did you land on the highway, sir? It just had no performance.
Had to do it.
I just figured I was going to drive it home at that point.
Yeah. No, but listen, it was good to get back into all the spaghetti charts in the POH. And
did you really?
You could, oh yeah, you had to get in there and make sure everything. I mean, I wasn't going to go unless I could confirm you could maintain.
Unless in theory you could climb.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's good. Well, it's good.
Practice leaning procedures, everything. So it's a great.
Did you get on the runway and hold the brakes and run up to full power and lean for max RPM?
What? Yeah, in the right. Yeah, of course. I mean, I wanted every ounce out of
You
that
needed
thing.
every rotation you could get.
Every rotation. Yep. I had the window
all right.
open. My son was like paddling his arm. No, just kidding. Anyways,
so
blow.
I got one more general aviation quip here while we're on it.
Okay.
So,
All right.
so my backcountry buddy Sean, that we've been flying together. So I had this idea. I'm like, hey, I really want to land up on this mesa. That it's it's this, I've been up there before on a side by side. It's a really gnarly trail, super like bunch of loose rocks and stuff to get up there. And then there's like this 2-track, and you go up there, and but it's real rocky. It has like these volcanic black rocks that are like half buried in the ground. And I'm like, wow. And so I went up there the other day, in the Cub, and I was flying around real low trying to look at it, and I'm like, and even to see if we could land like on this 2-track or whatever, and it was just looking really rocky. So I told Sean, I'm like, yeah, we really need to go up there and with some pry bars and see if we can like find an area and maybe move a couple rocks and see if we can make this happen. So the weekend rolls around, and he wasn't going to be able to go, and then something happened. He's like, hey, let's go up there, and I was like, I can't today. He's like, well, I'm going to go. I'm like, all right. So he goes up there. All day he's up there. I talked to him that night, and it sounds like he's
like pictures of him and his son clearing rocks, and like
he sounds like he's on his deathbed. He's like, hello. I'm like, oh, you tired? He's like, dude. So he managed to eke out about estimating about 450 foot area.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, awesome. So now I'm like, this is better, because I didn't have to go up there and do all the back-breaking labor.
Right.
Because Sean is just so impatient. If you know Sean, it makes total sense. So I'm like, oh, sweet, let's go fly it tomorrow. He's like, all right. So we drop our kids off at school, go to the airport, fire up, and this is recently, so it's like cooled off, but it is not cool, yet here in Phoenix. And it's getting up to I think it was like 90-ish, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we blast off at 8 or 8:30 or something like that. And we fly up there, and we're like, oh, I'm like, that looks short.
Not long.
But so there's like these
the
two
same
old,
feeling.
like the agave when they sprout that thing that gets like 8 feet tall and then they die in the middle.
Yeah.
This big long stick. So he has two of those laid for what the end of the runway is. And so he comes down there, and I didn't really know where it was. And he blasts in there and lands. He goes, oh, well, I'm on the ground. I'm like, oh, good. How was it? He's like, it's pretty rough. It's pretty short. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, he goes, so I'm like, I'll do a low approach first, just to, see what it looks like. And so I come down and do a low approach. I see where the end of the runway is, and I'm like, oh, that is not very long. And so he's parked in the end. So I come back around and did this, max performance landing, meaning like I'm as slow as I physically can, like, to touch for the touchdown. And at touchdown and get on the brakes, suck the flaps up, and bouncing down this runway. Sure enough, we both get in there. We're like, wow, that's awesome. But hey, we will talk at the end. We're like, we should probably come back up here and get another, 150
another
feet out of this. Because we're getting there by ourselves, right? I have like half tank, less than half tanks of fuel. And so anyway, so then we're like, now we got to take off. And I'm like, I'm like, well, because typically you can get in somewhere you probably couldn't get out of, but it's pretty close on these airplanes. Like they're pretty good. So anyway, then we blast off, and there was plenty for us to get out of there. And it was, but it was like the density altitude I looked on, because the avionics like automatically calculates it now. It's like 6,200 feet, I think, when we took off. And he's got a turbo, so I do not. But yeah, so anyway, we blasted off out of there. It was cool though. It's it was just like, it was an accomplishment. And then so that one allows us to get to another smaller little mesa that looks like a little mesa that I think we can try and land on. It'll be really cool if we can make it happen.
Well, we're just pushing these aircraft to their limits here, one way or another.
Well, that sounds really short, dude. But here's the thing. It's just so I don't sound like people aren't shaking their heads like an idiot. I have this thing, I think I've talked about it before, called the STOL-mate, and it's a little LiDAR box. It pairs up to your phone, and it will essentially tell you your exact takeoff distance and your exact landing distance if you mark the spot, right?
It's not calculate, like it's using like
actual,
an optical sensor.
It uses GPS and it uses LiDAR to know when you're on the ground and blah, blah, blah. And so I had and I'd been in certain places where you can do this. Like there's this place, it's a big field, and so we put cones out and we did a bunch of practice, and I've been logging that data in a spreadsheet, so I can look back and say, hey, at this density altitude, this was what my performance was that day, and I estimate, I say, by myself with half tanks or whatever, like to get a weight, right? And I was regularly doing that in 200 or 250 feet of takeoff and landing distance, so I know we had performance. It's just, dude, it just does not look very long when you're coming up on it. But it wasn't even like close to get stopped or anything. You do need to put it down on your spot or go around, try again if you're not going to make it. But so we had the data, and I'm like, well, we can definitely do it. Like we've demonstrated this at the same density altitude. It was a little bit higher actually. So anyway, we had the data, and it was fun. So I'll send some pictures or videos or whatever to the Khaleesi. She can post on the gram if anyone cares.
Yeah, there will be no videos of my takeoff. Post.
That would have been. I would like.
There was
to see
no
that
way
more.
to carry a camera. We couldn't carry any camera gear. Sorry. The meta glasses were too heavy. I had to discard them.
You had to take laxatives before the flight just to get all the weight out. That's good.
I hadn't drank water in 3 days.
You're like cutting weight like a wrestler.
Yeah. I was on the ramp beforehand. I was with the plastic around.
I was wondering why you and your son had sweatsuits.
The portable sauna. Thank you for carrying that in the back of your plane. That was really helpful, actually, for me. Well, there you have it. The hosts of the 21.5 show just exploring all corners of the envelope here in
cheating
general
death
aviation.
In general aviation.
Every corner.
Not some of the best performing corporate jets there are yet. We subject ourselves
280 and
to
the 350, just
putting ourselves into the corner
ships.
of performance. Yeah. I was climbing today at like 6,000 feet a minute.
I know.
Dude. It's insane. You're just like,
unbelievable.
And
Didn't even think about it. I know I was going to talk about another airplane I flew that, but I'm going to have to say that for another day. We've already covered so much ground. Okay, Max, we have to give an emergency shout out to a listener. Well, actually, there's a new word I've heard, which is called gatekeeping. Have you heard of this term?
Yeah.
Gatekeeping is like you're like not allowing or not sharing a secret or a hot tip or something.
I had not heard it in that context.
You gatekeeped me because we heard from our listener, Jeremy W. sent us a message on Instagram, sent me a link to the Turbine Dude on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
which is this dude that bought an MU2. And then I was excited and I sent it to you and you're like, oh yeah, I've been following that guy. And I'm like, well, why didn't you send it to me before?
I don't know. I forget that there's anybody else on this planet that wants to watch this middle-aged dude
best.
Talk about his 600-hour inspection line by line.
Literally, if we went into ChatGPT and created a prompt for the YouTube channel we wanted to see, it would be this YouTube channel. It's a professional pilot that bought a MU2, and he talks about the ownership and goes over in the pros and cons of the engine, and just goes through everything that we're just completely geeking out of. Videos of him tugging the plane in and out of the hangar. It's spectacular.
He's single-handedly going to educate everybody and push the prices of the MU2.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Actually,
I've been trying to gatekeep the whole thing.
Yeah, you've been trying to gatekeep the MU2, the whole airplane. Anyways, so shout out to the Turbine Dude and shout out to Jeremy W for sending us that.
Yeah, we'll have to try and talk to him sometime.
Yeah. We're going to do an emergency 20
I got some other. Listen, I've got another MU2 guest in the pipeline. Okay, you just calm down.
Big TPE 331 series coming from
it's going to
here for our 200th episode. It's going to be special.
For those of you that are can appreciate a single shaft turbine, you can stay here.
It would be so great to have Ted on that call. Right? We're just going through now
we're
let's talk
Ted
about
on
the
as a
hot
guest
section.
host that day.
Yeah, corrosion. Now, what factors should we be looking at? He would just
tell us about pulling the blades through after shutdown and how that.
Oh my God, it would be hilarious. Any other musings before we get going? We jump in here. Oh no, I've got one other thing I've got to mention. So we started talking about red eyes, and I never finished my story. So I did a red eye in Southwest, and got in this morning. And I did something I have never done in the 20 years of professional flying, and I want to know if I'm crazy for doing this or crazy because I haven't done it sooner. Last night before the flight, I purchased a neck pillow. Have you ever used a neck pillow in all your days of commuting or
Yes.
like?
Oh yeah, I have multiple times, and I actually bought like a good one, like the gel,
Yeah.
or something for Europe flight.
Mhm.
I cannot get on board. It's not comfortable. I just don't like it.
Interesting.
I don't know. It's weird. Why is it? Do you love it? Is this?
Well, it was the first flight I've ever really thought to use one. To me, it's the lugging around of the neck pillow is like, I hate to see people in the terminal wearing it around their neck, walking around and
Yeah,
stuff.
do
Like,
not
you
do
know what I'm
that.
talking about? I'm
Yeah.
like, that's kind of, but this one's like comes in a little stuff bag that I can like attach to my backpack. Anyways, I ended up having a window seat, so I like didn't put it around my neck. I sort of put it against the fuselage, and then sort of laid it against it, and that worked out pretty good. And then the other thing, and I don't know, this is a controversial sleep, but sometimes I like to go forward and like rest my forehead on the seat in front of me. Do you ever do that? Probably
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, but I don't not.
And then you use the
do
neck
not-
pillow as the buffer in between. So I don't know. I would be curious where our friends are at, where our listeners are at on the neck pillow. It's I feel like I don't see a lot of pro pilots with the old
If
neck
there are
pillow.
any listeners left still
Yeah.
after this
Yeah.
segment on
After
Dylan's
this
neck pillow,
incredible
please report in if you're also in the neck pillow
neck
corner
pillow.
with him.
Yeah. Commuter vest neck pillow. Maybe you know what we should do is make a commuter vest with an inflatable collar that turns into a neck pillow. That would be pretty sick, actually. We'll have to think about that. All right. On to the rest of the show. Anything else, Max, before we get going into reviews, emails, et cetera, et cetera?
No, that's it. Let's go.
Okay. Max, I do have some exciting news to share with you. I was toiling the past couple of weeks on our website, making some updates. The layover guides have been completely overhauled, and we've got a couple new layover guides added. You should go to the website right now. It's 215podcast.com.
Yeah, I got it.
And then you'll see like the menu there, and there says layover guides. Just don't click on a specific city, just click on the layover guides. I just want you to appreciate all these fun little graphics I made.
Oh my God. Look at this.
Stunning.
San Juan.
Yeah. Okay. So we've
Look
got
at you.
9.
Wow, that's a lot of work. When did you
9 layover guides. That took a lot of time. That's why it's taken me forever to get these. 9 different guides. 2 new ones, Boise and Cabo, are up. Now, you may look at this list and kind of scratch your head and be like, okay, I could see New York and Dallas and San Juan, Grand Junction. Like, where did these come from? Listeners submit these to us, okay? And they do a great job. So we love getting these submissions from folks. So we had somebody that lived in Grand Junction and or had spent a lot of time there, and they just had all these great local tips, and it was awesome. Same with San Juan. Someone was based there, gave us a bunch of great stuff. So these layover guides are totally updated. Let's say if you click on one, the Cabo one, that's winter's coming. We're all going to be heading there soon. We've got if you click on that guide, you'll see there's a view guide in Google Maps button. If you click on that, especially when you're on your mobile phone, it imports a list into the Google Maps app. You click save, and then all of the spots on the list are like have this little blue icon. So what's cool is whenever you're in a city where we have these recommendations, without you doing anything, you'll just see this little blue icon on the map. And you're like, what is that? And then you click on it, it'll say 215 recommends, going to dinner here or doing this hike or whatever. So it's a really cool way to where you don't have to like remember what we told you. You just kind of looking at your map and you see the blue icons populate. So I really like that. We've got some operational tips for airports, and then kind of your typical pilot hot topics, where to stay, where to eat, and what to do. So for all those different locations. So yeah, the layover guides.
It is. It's
incredible.
Really
yeah.
Wow.
So I'm happy with the way it worked out. Listen, we can't get everything. We crowdsource a lot of this stuff. So when you have a suggestion, something to add, shoot us an email. We'll add it onto the list. We can update the Google
somewhere
Map
you go
guide.
often that you were just dialed in on.
Yeah. And if you want to create a guide for us, there was a listener I told you who gave us some wine. He also made a nice little list in Napa that we will be able to update soon. So we're gonna have all sorts of different destinations. So lots of good stuff. And the cool thing is when you save that Google Map deal. Anytime we make a change, it updates on your phone too. So pretty good stuff. Good stuff.
Lovely.
All right. Let's
right.
let's jump on over to the reviews. Go ahead. You can read the first one. A lot of action.
Reviews from Mackay747. Keybird interview with Vernon. This is literally a wealth of information. The documentary only talks about the tip of the iceberg. Would love to be able to talk to Vernon. I have so many questions. Well, listen, we're not going to broadcast Vernon's number here. So, but if you do have questions,
are you gatekeeping?
No, I'm going to be the intermediary. So if you have
okay.
questions, send them, because I actually am really looking for I don't have any specialty welding or fabrication projects right now. So I'm looking for another reason to go visit Vernon. So if you have some good questions.
Well, I was just going to say probably the best way to get access to Vernon is to have a specialty welding or machining project, and then you can just go to his shop in Deer Valley and talk to him.
No, I'll go talk to him. I'll record it and we'll put it on somewhere.
It's funny. I went to YouTube to pull a couple of these comments and reviews, and there was a bunch. Like the YouTube algorithm must have kicked that episode up because there was like 3 or 4 comments on that interview with him in the last like few days.
Oh, recently? Huh.
Yeah, like this one was just a few hours ago. So something's going on. I don't know. But anyways, if you haven't checked out that interview with Vernon, it is spectacular. Next review says, great show, guys. One of the best I've heard, and I've listened to hundreds of shows related to aviation. Wow. Boom. I'm in that unlucky boat at the moment. I have my hours and constantly applying. When I get my hours, it was shortly after the slowdown in hiring started. I went the accelerated training route and incurred the infamous 6-figure debt. Had I not taken a management position at a flight school and gotten less flight hours than if I had stayed outside of management, then I would have rode the hiring wave before the slowdown. At the time, the management position seemed like the right way to go for the money to help pay down the loans and the plus of having management in aviation on my resume. I'm not giving up, but there are times the motivation is lacking. I know my time will come. It's just a matter of being patient. Thanks for all you do. And this was in response to our episode with Captain Benny. Thank you, Ryan.
What does that make you think of?
Well, I had a couple thoughts about what he's thinking of, but what did you have in mind?
I just remember when we've talked to James about this whole debt situation.
Oh, yeah.
And how it can be very limiting in your ability to make career decisions. Now, this is in their situation. They incurred debt to get the training, to get the job. Like it was. I'm not saying that he did anything wrong. I just say, and for everybody out there, I'm thinking about taking on debt of like, revolving credit card debt and buying boats and cars that that kind of debt this is how it can be very limiting, because then you're like, oh, I need to stay here and I can't do that. And then, in retrospect. So not saying again that he did anything wrong. I'm just saying this is a good example of where you have to be careful with your debt load, because it can be, limit your career decisions. But
hey, Ryan, I want to actually tell you something to maybe possibly make you feel better, Ryan. Because it sounds like you would have been at the very, very tail end of the hiring wave. Being at the very bottom of a seniority list, not much fun. And if you would have been stuck there for the last couple years at the bottom of the list, you might have been flying a fancy jet, but
you wouldn't even know what a weekend off is.
Depending on where you were, it could be, I don't know if airport reserve is still a thing at regional airlines, but
or
you
living in a base, but commuting to another base because
somewhere.
You can't hold the base you live in.
There's no movement and you're just stuck at the very bottom of the list. If you listen a couple episodes ago, with Ted, you'll remember he actually recommended being on the top of the list, not the bottom. So Ryan,
very wise.
Your timing might have been okay. And actually now you're probably in a prime position when they do start hiring, because you always want to be at the top of the wave, not the bottom of the wave. So you might find that, yes, you might have slowed down a little bit, but your quality of life in the interim could have been higher. And then if you're on the beginning of this next wave, man, you could be the guy that gets hired and never has to sit reserve or anything like that. We all know Everyone has those stories
Well,
of
and
I
if
sat
you
reserve for a year and a half, and then the new hire got a line and never was on reserve. Blah blah blah. So,
and you say sometimes your motivation is lacking. Let me, and you are said that you're in a management position. Just when the motivation starts to wane, close your eyes and think about a life where you don't have to answer emails every day and nobody calls you, and people that work for you don't cause you problems and frustrate you, and there's none of that.
And the
You just
only
show up,
performance,
fly, and go home. That's what you're holding on to if you're in management. And then, like, that's what I always say. A lot of these people that have just been pilots, like, since they went to college, were flight instructors, blah blah blah, never had like a management job or owned a business,
never had
or
to
anything,
manage
and
people, never had a responsibility.
never had real
They don't-
stress and like stuff
Yep.
like that. Like, this dude does, and
Yep.
that's the thing you will, I think, appreciate some of the most
Absolutely.
if you go to an like airline gig where you're just a dude, just a number.
Yep. And dude, even building those skills, I think those will help you at some point later on. So fret not, Ryan. Your time will come. Great comment, though.
Be patient.
That's right. I like the patience. If you'd like to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, you could, or on YouTube, wherever you like, you can do that. And then shoot us an email, info@215podcast.com with your mailing address, and we'll shoot some stickers out. I owe a few more stickers that'll get sent out this week.
Now, you're not
hopefully.
going to send any of those stickers that have a misspelling, are you?
little snafu here.
That's
Somebody printed some flexibility is the key to air power stickers, and flexibility was not spelled correctly. So I think it says flexibility.
No, it says flexibility, not flexibility.
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 Your flexibility in the English language is the key to understanding that sticker. So that's because we had to pay per letter for the sticker, so it was a little
What
cheaper
happened
for
there?
us to print.
Seriously, like, what happened? You just
there's no spell checker in the image creator app, I guess. I'm not sure.
Listen.
I don't know. Yeah, that's because
only
you know
one
why,
man.
Max? You know what? I was never a management pilot. I didn't have those skills to trap those errors. I was just the jabroni line guy,
That's it. All right. Good. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So those reviews.
Those are going to be a collector's item one day.
I know. I wonder if, exactly.
Like
I wonder if I have
misprinted-
any more of those. I should save the misspelled ones.
Like a misprinted baseball card.
Yeah, exactly. The error card, they call them.
Error card, yeah.
All right. Well, I think I made a fool of myself doing the ad read for Advanced Aircrew Academy, trying to impersonate Reggie last time. Should we just bring Reggie back for an old school read? Are you ready for that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Can you handle that? Okay.
Love it.
Let's see if Reggie's awake. And of course, I had everything all queued up.
AI is making our life so easy.
So much easier when he could just do the dishes. Ooh, this one's actually very relevant. Here we go. Let's see if this works.
This episode is brought to you by Advanced Aircrew Academy, because rest assured shouldn't just be something you tell yourself after 3 hours of sleep and a triple espresso. Their fatigue management module dives into the science of sleep, circadian rhythms, and why Red Bull doesn't count as a controlled rest strategy. You'll learn how to recognize fatigue before it turns into a "did I already brief this approach?" moment, and get practical tools to manage it. Whether you're flying red-eyes, long legs, or just burning the candle at both ends. And for flight department managers, their online platform makes training and tracking smoother than your last power nap between legs 2 and 3. So keep your brain sharp, your eyes open, and your decision-making above minimums. Head to aircrewacademy.com. Advanced Aircrew Academy, training that keeps you awake in all the right ways.
Spectacular, Reggie. Just
There you go. That
really,
his ad reads are much better than ours.
they are. They're much better. Wow. Did I already brief this approach moment? That was a good touch. I like that. All right. Well, Advanced Aircrew Academy, of course, has been our longtime sponsor of the Mailbag. And we've got a full one to get to, Max.
Oh, my goodness.
I will start with the first one, and then we'll work our way through here. It says, love your podcast when you guys go through scenarios like regional FO. You always leave out one group. What about the 2,500 hour total time, 135 guys with 1,000 hours of turbine time? I talk a lot. I talk to a lot of guys around these times that are thinking becoming a regional FO is going backwards, but they want to jump to a legacy. Would be good to understand a ballpark how far out from a legacy that is. And that's Mike. From Mike. It's a good point. You do kind of reach a point of no man's land where you don't have the time to go to the major, but you would be taking a step back to go to the regional. Do you have any thoughts on folks in that scenario?
I think, well, I don't know the answer how far away from a legacy that is right now, because that's in motion. It's just something we don't track that close. We would have to ask James. But that being said, it's also, it's about the rate at which you're accumulating flight time, I think is really important, because I know a lot of people in that scenario that are not flying that much per year, where at a regional you could be flying a lot more. And I think that's really going to be the driving factor. I mean, you have turbine time. Like, I'm not sure that going to the regional is much more attractive, other than the rate at which you could build time. So,
well, start marinating on this, because this topic is going to come up in flight advice again here. So, Mike, stay tuned. We're gonna have some thoughts to delve into. So, yeah, it is a great point though, and you do kind of, it does feel like going to the regional would be a step back, but I agree with you, Max. It's how many hours you're flying.
Yeah. Guys, on one of your podcasts, I heard you talking about just plain shades, the custom fit window tint, and I decided to order 2 of them to fit in the Citation XLS, and I'm very happy. Works really good. Custom fit is 100% spot on. Most importantly, because I'm multiple aircraft, these pack away small in my flight bag and are very easy to travel with. Temperature inside the cockpit is definitely cooler with them up, although I can see outside. I personally do not taxi the aircraft with them on, or when that would not be advised. When we're in the terminal environment, I usually put them all down at least halfway down if there's VFR traffic out. I'm very pleased with this purchase. Thank you for the recommendation on the podcast, Brian. Well, Brian, hopefully it was still this podcast you heard that, but we did not mention just plain shades. It was Pilot Armor was the company, which he must have bought the right ones, because everything else of this description is spot on. Just
no,
not
he
the
didn't.
name.
He sent a screenshot. He sent a picture of these shades in the cockpit. They're not. They're like a vinyl sheet. They're like a what is the word I'm looking for? A tint sheet. It looks like just a sheet of tint that's like rolled out.
Oh, really? Oh,
so it's totally different. So you might have mixed that up.
That's funny.
The ones, yeah, because it doesn't have like the suction cups like the.
He must have just like Googled,
yeah,
after he heard it on the podcast.
But I'm glad they're working, Brian. That's good.
Yeah, listen, I'm glad we could have planted the seed that.
Yeah. Get a nice shade window you can see through. That's the key, right?
Listen, whatever.
All right, next email. Hi, Dylan and Max. In episode 179, you mentioned you'd like to hear from a guy that commutes on his own plane. I retired VSP at 53 years old from Southwest, where I always jump-seated non-rev from Tulsa to Dallas, Houston, or Denver. Now I've been a 777FO at FedEx for 4 years, and I've made every commute, Tulsa, Memphis, on my own A36, and love it. If you have any questions, let me know. And that's from Doug. What's VSP? Is that like an early out program?
Yeah, that was like the gravy after COVID, where they were the early retirement deal.
They bought you out. Oh, yeah. I see. This is like, to me, the ideal Tulsa to Memphis. Not going to get a ton of snow, seems like a fairly reliable commute you could do, I mean, yeah, you're going to have to dodge a lot of thunderstorms, I
wonder
suppose.
where he parks. Like, you think
Yeah.
I wonder if FedEx has some tie downs in the corner.
Doug, is there any program where you could throw a couple packages in your plane too to like cover a little
Just
extra?
Be the feeder?
Yeah, somebody missed the delivery. That would be great. That's what they should do. They should figure out what the feeder is and see if you can
Have all these guys just flying around in caravans or that
for bringing
Sky Courier.
caravans into commute. Yeah. All right, here we go. Wow.
I wonder if
Didn't even
anybody
think about
does
that.
commute on because you figure it has
Yeah,
to work out pretty
Yeah.
good because the feeders coming in to Memphis to then put their boxes on the big jets to then go out. I wonder if you could commute on the feeder to then go fly the big jet out.
I mean, I don't know how it would get any better than that. Get
Well,
paid.
actually, yeah, because if it's evening time, I don't know.
I don't think it really works that way.
No, I mean, I don't think anyone's getting paid to fly in, but I mean,
No.
commuting on because you can commute on the
Yeah.
cargo feeds, obviously. All right, hi
When
there.
we start our cargo airline, we're going to do that.
Yeah, well,
You're going to have
there
your
won't
own
be-
206.
There's going to be no pilots at that one, so
Yeah, that's true.
another show. Hi there. I absolutely love the podcast. I discovered 21.5 about a week ago, and I've been binge listening ever since.
Ooh.
I received my private pilot's license about a month ago and then moved out to college a few days later, so I haven't had much of a chance to put it to use yet. Luckily, I have a couple of flights booked for early October. Before I take those first flights as a private pilot, I was wondering if you have any advice or general knowledge for a person in my position. I'm taking it slow, staying within my limits and prioritizing safety, but I'm always eager to learn and hear a different perspective. My end goal is to fly for the airline, so if you'd have any niche recommendations for working towards that path, I'd really appreciate it as well. Episode 180 with O'Neill was incredibly informative. Thank you so much, Jason.
Any advice? So just got his private pilot. Prioritizing safety.
My advice would be get the rest of your certificates.
Yeah.
As quickly as possible.
Yes. It's good to have a goal. Maybe it's the airlines. Maybe you don't even know what segment of the aviation industry you would work in. But yeah, bang out those certs as quick as you can and be open to what opportunities.
Well, which would be awesome too, because the thing about like going to college and then flight instructing, like we did,
yeah,
such a better if you're going, if he's going to college already and maybe he's not studying aviation, which is we've talked about before, is probably a great idea. But it would be awesome to bang out your certificates and ratings and get to that CFI, and then go to college. And like I had a job in college, you had a job in college, like just instruct as your job. Like that would be great because then you're killing two birds with one stone the whole time.
Or do what a lot of people did. If you do love it and you decide that you want to get an aviation degree later on, get that CFI, and a lot of times you can go instruct at an aviation university and transfer in and be faculty. You can get free or reduced tuition too to finish off that degree. So a lot of options for you, Jason. But yeah, just keep plugging away on those certs for now, and you can fast forward all the parts where we're talking about picking up open time and misbidding and some of that stuff may not. You'll get there someday.
Listen, Dylan, if I can save one person from an accidental autobid, it's worth it.
The whole show will have been worth it.
We'll have to get our buddy Clint on here sometime to talk about how he accidentally.
We already recorded that.
Yeah,
we recorded that already. We've just got to play it. I got to dig through the archives for that one. That was so good.
All right.
First off, I just want to say I really enjoy the show. My question is for those of us who have built our 1,500 hours through time building, either flying our own aircraft or time sharing with other pilots. When recruiters look at our resumes and notice the absence of a CFI certificate, what's the best way to approach that? Should we go ahead and pursue the CFI, or are there other paths we should be considering? And that's from Nicholas. Yeah, this is going to be tricky. We've talked with James about this more than once. You really need to have a good track record of showing what you were doing had purpose, right? Yes, you were time building with another pilot, but look, on every mission, we had a goal. We were going to fly to this area because I wanted to get this specific experience that I didn't have before. Or I wanted to go operate in this type of airspace that I hadn't been before, or this type of challenging airport. It's XYZ. If you don't have that if you can't articulate that experience, or maybe the logbook is the same two airports or one airport, local flights all the time, then yeah, maybe a CFI might be good, because you probably will get hired at some point. But I know if I was probably a recruiter, I'm looking at this and I'm going to go, I'm probably taking the 1,500 hour CFI over the 1,500 hour time builder. That's just me. I'm not trying to, say one's better than the other, but my guess is that's the way that a recruiter would lean. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think if you weren't mindful when you're just building time, if you're paying to play, and you look in your logbook and you just pick like literally the city pair between where you live and the furthest you can stretch the airplane and land there with appropriate fuel reserves, and then come back, and you just did that for a year, like people are going to be like, what did you learn? You may as well just, pencil whipped it at this point. Like, what did you learn? But if you shows you going around in all these different airports and you were creating missions and saying, hey, we're going to fly the approach here, and then we're going to pretend we couldn't get in, missed, and then diverted to our alternate, and we did that, or whatever, something like that. And you can say, hey, here's what I did. I took it seriously. I know, the point of experience is to learn and blah, blah, blah. Then that's something entirely different, I think. But at the end of the day, if you are a interviewer and you were a CFI, and then you see somebody who just leapfrogged that CFI experience, then I think that could sway your decision on how you view such a thing. But
yep. And Nicholas, I would say the other thing is too, you don't have to CFI for 1,000 hours. Like if you did a couple hundred hours of CFIing, that to me is like, okay, this person has, experienced what it's like to teach a student, and it'll be a great experience. If you do get your CFI, you will grow a lot. You'll be crazy. You'll learn more in the couple hundred hours of instructing than probably the last 800 hours of time building. It will be crazy. And almost none of it will be manipulating the controls of the airplane either. But very important. So yeah, I would say CFI not a bad choice. At the very least, get with James, and like you really need to craft your response to how you built your time.
Hey guys, love the podcast. Let's if you review on Apple Podcasts. I'm currently flying 91-135 operation on a Challenger 300. I've been upgraded from SIC to a junior captain role. We are a 3-pilot, 1-airplane operation. I'm taking on more trips as PIC and looking forward to the experience. I've got a great group of guys I fly with who have been super helpful getting me up to speed to start flying in that new role. When did you guys make that jump from SIC to PIC? What were some of the things that you guys did to help you transition to those new responsibilities? Is there anything that you now know that you wish you would have known back then? Thanks for the insight, Jimmy.
This is a great email. I feel like we haven't gotten this question before, really. So this is very. Do
you remember how I got my first SIC to PIC role?
It also included you collecting a real estate commission, I believe. Oh my god,
so good.
Max was flying with this guy and somehow convinced him he should move. I don't even know what it was, but he's like, yeah, you should move. Like, you need to be in the mountain air or whatever. I don't even know what you.
I don't remember either. Like,
it's like, yeah, you're right. I should move. So, you're a real estate agent at the time. He like lists his house with you. Moves.
I just got it was a referral deal. I'm like, you know what? Even I'll find you an agent to represent you in Chicago. How about that? You can get your search started for your new house.
Oh my gosh, this is great. Oh,
brilliant! That's brilliant.
Be the captain now. Oh, okay.
Yeah, just convince the captain to leave, and then then I just got a little real estate juice, and then sashayed right into the left seat. It was great.
He bought him a very nice closing gift. So don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But as far as actually upgrading from SIC to PIC, 3-pilot, 1-airplane operation, and I'm assuming you're the junior pilot at this point. So you're always, the tricky part is you're always going to be flying with someone with more experience than you, and this is good and bad.
I don't know about that, dude. Because perhaps I would assume that he's flying like maybe someone left who was not say there's the department managers, the oldest dude, and he was an SIC, and the guy in the middle left, and now that you've upgraded him to captain, they hired a new guy. Just make that assumption.
Maybe. Okay, so let's go with assumption. Let's go with scenario 1. You are flying with a more senior pilot. Who you are technically the PIC. The other senior pilot is going to be your SIC. Talk to them what I would want to do is try to make all of the decisions and talk to the other pilot and say, listen, if it's not safety related, if you think I'm making a decision that is probably not, through your experience, you're going to be like, that may not be the way to go. Let me make that mistake. When it comes to like maybe booking the rental car for the passenger, or somebody knows something that it doesn't work right there, or like stuff like that, where there's decisions that there's so many decisions you have to make in 91 and 135 that it's impossible to quantify them all. But I think the thing is you just have to make them, and you're going to make some mistakes. Again, I'm not talking about safety stuff, but I'm just talking about in the PIC role. And so hopefully when you're flying with a senior pilot, they will allow you to make some of those non-safety related mistakes, but I think it'll help you grow. So have those conversations, I think, with the senior pilots to see, how they can help you in that respect. And then when you're flying, nothing can really, I'll tell you, it's so different to be PIC, but flying with someone with a lot of experience versus PIC with somebody without a lot of experience in the rights is completely different.
Yeah, that's a really good point. My two things were, if you're flying with somebody more experienced, make sure at the completion of your flight, you debrief. And because then you're soliciting for feedback that sometimes you won't get if you don't specifically ask for it. And then the other thing too is that when you're stepping up in a role where you don't have a lot of experience, and whether that's if you're a CFI and you're going for your first type rating, or you're an SIC, you're becoming the captain, the only way you can help offset some of the challenges of less experience is by more preparation.
Yes.
And then so you can you can devote more brain power to what you're doing because you've prepared, whether that's learning flows and call outs and memory items or whatever, if you're learning a new airplane, or when you're moving to PIC, whether that's reviewing the route earlier and your flight planning and the weather and the NOTAMs, and doing a more thorough job than maybe you've seen the mentors in the past do because they've been doing it a long time. The more you can prepare, I think that you can help offset some of that lack of experience and make things go a lot smoother for yourself.
And speaking, I think we could both agree on this. In the 91 135 operation, there's certain things where flying the airplane stuff is more cut and dried, I would say, right? Where it's like, listen, it's below minimums. We've got to do an alternate. We got to go talk to passengers, blah, blah. That stuff's easy. There's a lot of decisions that you have to make where there is no like book answer, right? Where it's like, oh, the rental car didn't show up, or I'm trying to think of a good scenario, and I'm kind of drawing a blank. But those are the ones that are really tricky, that will catch you off guard, right? Oh, the GPU's broken, but we can't start without it, or what just happened? So there's a lot of weird things, I think, in the 91 135 operation that will actually make you a really great captain. But they're just going to be interesting encounters, and it's just part of it is learning. And like I said, you're going to make some mistakes.
Yeah, learn and what I mean too by preparing, like stuff you don't do a lot, like MELing something. Go through, like look at that stuff up, so when you do have to do it, it's not totally foreign. Things like that.
Yep, things like that. Probably the ops manual will be another good one to know pretty well, as far as
what I would do is take the ops manual in PDF, upload it to ChatGPT, and say, "I'm a new captain.
To Reggie.
Give me a 30-question quiz on things that I should know as a captain." And
see what it says.
Start there.
There you go. Ask and do it in the Reggie voice.
All
right. Great email, Jimmy. That's going to do it for the mailbag. If you want to join the conversation, it's info@215podcast.com. We will happily get to your questions. We're running about a month behind right now. I was just noticing. So look, be patient if we haven't gotten to your email. I apologize. We're just getting through like early September right now, so we will get to
Dylan's
your
been
email.
on vacation. We're very busy.
Been on vacation. I've got my neck pillow. I'm getting a lot more sleep now. I'm really self-care. It's really
He's got his 8 sleep and his neck pillow. This guy's very. I think he comes from generational wealth.
I think so. It is a memory foam neck pillow, so I think that's the upgraded version.
He bought it in the airport. He paid a premium.
It's a premium. It was hilarious too. That store, it was neck pillow after neck pillow just flying off the shelves. It was hilarious how many people were as unprepared as I was to do the red eye when they just walk in and look, oh yeah, I need to get this. God, the margin on those things must be
all right. Enough about the neck pillow. I didn't mean to open up a whole nother can here.
All right, open up a can. Let's open up a can of advice, Max. And that can on the top of the can is our friends Harvey Watt. If you visit harveywatt.com, you can learn about all of the protections that they offer to professional pilots. 75,000 plus professional pilots around the globe trust Harvey Watt to protect their medical and provide life insurance. I am a happy life insurance customer. It is a great product. You can go to their website and run the little calculators. You can find out what the premiums are going to be for loss of license or life insurance. All the information is in the show notes, harveywatt.com. All right, fellas, I sent you guys an email sometime over the summer. Yeah, we were probably on vacation. Asking what you guys would do in my situation if the end game was to wind up at United Airlines. I'm a current 135 FO, 1800 total time, non-ATP, in Chicago, flying approximately 300 hours a year in a couple different citation products, the 560 and the 680. I think the 560 is the Excel, right?
Yeah.
And 680 is maybe
680 is a
Sovereign.
Latitude or something like that.
Sovereign or
Yeah,
okay.
whatever. Sovereign, I think you're right.
The hypothetical situation I first emailed about was if I had a choice between taking an offer at a regional or taking an upgrade at my current company, which would land me at United Airlines soonest? Well, as fate would have it, this hypothetical situation is my actual situation right now, and I need to make a decision. I had an interview at a regional airline last Wednesday, which was successful, and I am now proudly holding a CJO to begin my airline career. Unfortunately, or fortunately, my employer found out about this through their PRD, that's Pilot Record Database request, and has now made me an offer to upgrade with a very enticing starting salary. There will be a contract, waiting to hear how long it will be. I will be factoring this into my decision. His offer is somewhat like a backhanded compliment since it took them finding out I may be leaving to make it happen. However, I have a thick skin and understand business decisions can be somewhat reactionary. Yeah, get used to it in business areas. That's pretty much always the way it works. Oh, you're leaving? Oh, okay. Moving right along. This is where it gets good. I'm 32 years old and recently married with our first child on the way, due in April. The airline that extended the CJO said training should begin in 4 to 6 months. That timing ain't no good. I either have to leave training to come home for the birth and then leave immediately to go back, or see my child born and then disappear for a couple months while I am down at training. The debacle is this. Option A, if I accept my current employer's offer to upgrade, I'll be making more money initially than I would be at the regional, and my life effectively would stay the same as it is right now. I know the schedule. I know the types of trips the jet flies. I would definitely be there for my wife during the pregnancy as well as for the family once the kiddo arrives, all while putting some turbine PIC into the logbook. This option will also afford me flying opportunities outside of 121 that I cannot foresee currently and could possibly allow me to leapfrog the regionals and head straight to the legacy. Option B is head to the regional, jump in head first and don't look back, spend some temporary time away from the new family, knowing it's a small sacrifice. Everything is different with this option since I have never worked in a 121 environment. Learning a new type of flying while learning to be a dad is obviously concerning. My wife is the daughter of a FedEx captain, and she is extremely supportive of me going away, but does admit that the timing is pretty bad. We do have a good support structure here. My family is 5 minutes away, and her mother is likely going to move up here during maternity leave. I also do not know if I'll get the base of my choosing until I'm at training. I live outside Chicago, and that's my base of choice, but I've been told I'll likely get it right away, but that's no guarantee. I worked with Raven for my interview prep, and I'm waiting on a call back for some career advice to find out if they think it will be even remotely possible to go 135 to the major with my projected experience in the next 12 to 18 months. My request for advice is not just about the career path, but also the path of an aviator / father / husband with a new family. What would you guys do in my situation? Do you think my concerns about the regional are legitimate, or are they based in ignorance since I've never flown and / trained in a 121 environment, and that is really not as bad as I think it is in my head? The 135 schedule works with my wife. I am home a lot, and the jet they're planning to type me in does 80% day trips. Longest overnight has been 2 nights in the last year. At first, we were worried about the 10 and 5 schedule, but compared to being gone for almost 3 months at a very inopportune time, and then facing a possible 3-month commute to reserve. The 10 and 5 schedule is not so bad. And then he said, we got a follow-up email, said the regional said the only way he can take a later class, they said the only way around it is to take a later class date once the baby is born. Otherwise, if I leave early, they'll have to call it an incomplete training event. Whew, there was a lot there. Let's re-summarize that. 300 hours a year, can upgrade 135, 1,800 hour total time, wants to go to United. Babies would be showing up right during new hire at a regional.
Bro, as my kids would say. That is
Bruh.
That's a tough one.
Well,
300 hours a year.
We're not going to be able to tell you what to do. We were just going to give you things to think about here.
Well, it's just like Raven
tough.
Careers is not going to be able to project, the odds of you going to a region or a, big airline in the next 12 to 18 months. But
yep,
what we can tell you, and I've done this 4 times now, and with one being 9 months ago of having a child, and you coming home real quick for the birth and then bailing again is going to be inordinately hard on your wife and for you. Like it's going to be your wife is going to be at home, dude, that first few weeks
first
and
kid
months
especially
is rough. Like it can be very challenging. Nobody's sleeping. It's tons of work. What if your wife has a C-section? She's just had major surgery. You need to do what you can to be there, I think, because it is important. Like for what I did is, we have a very generous paternity leave situation. Like I got a couple weeks paid, and then I think I used some vacation, and then I took I was off for a couple months. Was it 2.5 months? Anyway, and some of that was not paid because you can go, with FMLA or whatever, you can take some unpaid time off, and I did that because it is very, very important for you to be present and around and support that program because it is challenging. It is not easy, and then after that, sometimes it's how easy you allow it to be by the parenting methods you choose. And sleep training and all of these other things. But initially, it's just rough, dude. It's rough. It's going to be, and then you're going to be studying for a type rating at the you're going to be very distracted. It's going to be that is tough.
You and your wife are going to live 2 completely separate lives for those few months.
And I don't know how many kids you're planning on having, but the first one is the hardest, and I think career and yada yada and getting to the 121, blah blah blah. I don't care. Dude, just keep your job, take the raise, fly your 300 hours a year, get through the baby, and
day
reassess.
Trips,
yeah, dude. That's the thing too. That with mostly day trips and stuff, or hire a full-time nanny to be there while you're not there to help your wife, because I mean, I know her mom will be there and stuff, but it's still your wife is going to want the father of the child to be there, not her mom, for everything. I can tell you from experience.
Yes, I did this. Okay, I was in almost the exact situation. I was flying an old 1978 King Air, got a job offer to go fly a brand new Challenger 605. Had to go to training 2 months after my son was born, maybe a month after my first son was born. First keyword, first son. So we're just figuring out how to be parents. And I had to leave. I only had to leave for 3 weeks, and it was still, I don't know if I would make that decision again. So that's my perspective. I don't know if I would have left that early. So yeah, I agree with you. I'd probably stay at the 130. The thing is, you're getting really good time. 300 hours of PIC time a year is
it's not
that's
like
great.
you could maybe. I just think in the long term, in the grand scheme of things, like I don't think this is a monumental career changing thing. Where having your first child is. That is that you will not forget. And that you only get one shot at with your first kid.
Yep.
So
the other thing is too, you said something that did stand out here. Your goal is to wind up at United as quickly as possible. My perspective, looking back on my career, quickly as possible is just not a priority to me. I think at this point, like, I wouldn't do something to just get on the seniority list as quickly as possible if there's like life that I've got to put to the side. There'll be plenty of time to be on a seniority list.
Yeah, seniority is everything at the airlines, but it's not everything in life.
Yeah,
that's that is the key distinction. And to keep your job, take the raise, be home more, and help with the baby and do that program and build some time. And then you can go to long-term training at United when your kid's a little older and you guys haven't figured it out.
And the second part of the question is it realistic to think you can go from 135 straight to United? The answer is yes. It sounds like you're working with James already. You need to build a strategy around that, right? So if you say, look, I'm all in on this 135 strategy and that's what I'm going to do, James knows exactly how to do this. You start to think about strategically, what am I doing? What experiences am I going to be getting at the 135 that I'm not going to be getting at the regional airline that I can leverage? What relationships do I need to be forging right now? I'm already in Chicago. United's got a lot going on in Chicago. Like who are the people that I need to start meeting? What are the chief pilot? All that kind of stuff. So there are definitely ways, if you're laser focused on United in Chicago, where you can be very strategic about making that jump. And you're going to have the credentials to get there to leverage in a few years. So,
and also, kids change a lot of things. You may need, you may not even want to go to United in a couple of years. You just don't know. So, deal with what's directly in front of you. And as far as the PS part of the question, if you do go to the regional, I would still go and call it incomplete and then go back, because at this point it's a seniority move, and if you're going to go, then
I don't know the ramifications.
See what the paternity, and see what the paternity leave and stuff is. If you could leave,
what's incomplete training?
Then you'd have to start it all over again.
Yeah, but do you keep your seniority number?
Yeah,
I don't know. Like I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. You would make sure you understand all that
James. And then the guys at Raven Career do really well is that they bring in, like when they have this career discussion, they bring your wife in to talk about it. Like they look at it from not just like, oh, well, here's how you go and you can build the most time and then get here and then upgrade it. It's a holistic thing. So that's what's going to be really important when you make this decision with them too. So
exciting. That's it. That was a complex one, Max.
Yeah, I know.
I like that we were both on the same page. It'll be great. He says he's waiting for a call back from James, and James will probably tell him the exact opposite thing. It'll be great. Email us back.
James has no kids though, so maybe
James get on that regional list immediately. Those Eagle career guys are smoking crack. I love it. All right. Well, if you've got some flight advice that you would like us to tackle, you can visit our website, 215podcast.com. There's a flight advice button on the main page, and you click on that, and you can fill out an anonymous form. The more information you include in that form, the easier it is for us to advise you. Like you can see family, how much flight time you're earning, where do you live, all that kind of stuff really plays into these decisions as we talk through them. So the more information you can include, the better. Thanks to Harvey Watt for their longtime sponsorship of Flight Advice. Whew, Max, that was a busy one.
I know. It's a lot of stuff.
A lot to cover after a red eye. I don't know how you airline guys do that.
I don't know how they do it either.
I don't know either.
It's not my jam.
I gotta go watch some put my neck pillow on and watch some football, I think.
Good for you.
Unwind.
All right. Well,
that's gonna do it for another episode of the 21.5 podcast. Episode number 187 apparently is what we're up to. Do we know what we're doing for episode 200 yet?
nope. Not
Any
a clue.
ideas?
We'll figure it out.
TPE 331 breakdown?
Perhaps.
Thanks to all of the sponsors of the show: Timothy P. Pope, Advanced Aircrew Academy, Harvey Watt, Veris Jet Sales, James O'Neill Rim Careers, the Air Comp Speaking of the Air Comp calculator, we need to get the Air Comp calculator folks back on. It's time. End of the year. Time
That's
to
it.
negotiate raises,
End of the
right?
year. Yep.
Dr. Broyhill will be coming for you soon. Thanks to all the listeners who submitted all the layover recommendations, the emails, reviews, flight advice, etc. We'll be back next week with another episode of the 21.5 show. Until then, remember,
Flexibility is key to air power. See you next time.
adios.
The statements made in this show are our own opinions and do not reflect, nor were they under any direction from any of our employers.